Hey, Steve.
So it is
Hi, folks.
recorded now.
Sorry, I just had to get out of another meeting.
No problem.
So what?
He just got out of another meeting.
How did Steve get in?
He's in. Hey, Steve.
Steve, how did you get in?
I had to enter the code and then the password on Zoom.
So do you have the Zoom app, Pat? Or do you?
Yeah.
So you put the password in, or we'll try that.
Yeah.
Let's see, every time I hit that link, it comes up invalid meeting ID.
You go to the other email, Pat. Do you have the other email from Elizabeth? Because that happened to me.
In front of me.
I just sent a new invite, Pat, to the meeting. To just you.
No. Okay. The last invite I have is 427.
This one just literally went out
Another
7:08.
minute, because she just sent you another email.
Okay.
Nothing?
No, I can't get it to come up. I got her message, but I don't even get it to respond now.
All right, we could just pass on it for now.
Okay, let's just go ahead.
Yeah. Okay,
All right. So we have a quorum.
we do. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. So I'll just make a comment before we begin. Obviously everybody knows these are unprecedented times and stuff, and everybody's bound to have problems. And I think, our Park and Rec Commission is a strong group of people, but we're only as strong as our weakest link, as they say. And so if anybody is having a problem, I would hope that they would reach out. They could reach out to John. You can reach out to me. I would keep it confidential. But, if you have economic issues, if you have social issues, if you have psychological issues, there's plenty of resources out there that we can get you into, because we really need everybody firing away at top speed for our commission with these new changes. So I just want to say that before the meeting. So anybody who needs to reach out, please do that.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So
appreciate that, Pat.
Ed, we'll call our meeting to order. Go ahead. You want to, seeing you're looking at everybody, John, you want to do the roll call?
Sure. Mike O'Donnell.
Here.
Steve Trifone.
Here.
Paul.
Yes, here.
Pat.
Here.
Karen. Not here. Robert Parr. Not here. Dan
Dan
Nowak.
Nowak is entering.
Dan Nowak. All right. Hey, Dan.
All right.
Took a while, but I got in.
Hey, nice hat.
Unbelievable.
See the flag holding up, right?
I will
Elizabeth-
get a flag up in 1 second.
This is my fourth web meeting of the day.
Oh, wow. Oh, very
Okay.
nice.
Allegiance
To the flag,
to the flag
United
of the United
States of
States of
America,
America,
Republic, for which it
which
stands,
stands
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
God.
equal,
with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Wait a minute, there you go.
Indivisible is wrong.
Sorry about that.
All right, public comment. We don't have any.
I think we have one.
I thought that was for bench down in 10.
We do. I think there was something. Elizabeth, was that meant for this
I
meeting?
believe
or-
that was public comment for this meeting.
Okay. Do you want to
Do
read
you
that
have that
one?
to read it in?
Yeah.
Sure. Sorry, it's going to take 1 second. Mhm. I'm sorry, John, I'm not seeing it.
All right, I
I
have
sent
it.
it to you
So,
regarding the tennis one. Sorry.
so I have an email from, looks like a resident, John Bate, B-A-T-E. Does anybody know?
No?
Okay.
I recognize him from tennis.
Okay, so he writes, Sirs, when I noticed that the originally planned handicap access concrete would encase the girls, Cheshire High School girls team memorial benches at the Cheshire High School courts, you did a fabulous job of arranging to move the benches so that they could be relocated on an extension pad of the handicapped access concrete. Unfortunately, there were insufficient funds to place access doors when the fence was redone. There may be a possibility of correcting that problem at the Cheshire Park courts under construction. They could use access doors on both the southern and northern fences. In parentheses, there are over 330 feet of fencing without a door, close parentheses. As the northern fencing is currently without any chain link material, it would economically increase the access if a door was placed in one of the open sections. Thank you for your attention, and please stay safe. John E. Bate, his phone number 203-824-3408, and his home number 203-272-4239. I'm not sure what he means by the high school courts and the benches there, because he goes from that to, so I'm not sure where those benches are. Aren't they close to where the entrance gates are?
Yeah.
As far as the Cheshire Park courts, he is correct. I mean, the entrance gates are in the middle. I did talk to the consultant that's doing the job right now, and he wants to take a ride out there to take a look to see what they can do before they put the fabric up, because they still have a little bit more to do, or a lot to do at that court. Okay.
Right. So we're going to respond and let them know, thank them, and we're looking into it.
Yeah, I'll respond tomorrow and tell them that I'm reaching out to the consultant. We're going to do a site visit because they're finishing up. They're doing work on all the basketball courts. They'll probably resume again next week on the tennis courts because they still got to put in all the posts. You know, they got to paint, do lines, do the fencing, and we'll get an idea of what he's talking about. Because there may even be, with the pickleball courts, there may even be a different entrance than where it is now. I have to look at the plan again.
Okay.
All right.
No.
That's it for that one. Number 3.
All right. Acceptance of the meetings from March 4th, if anybody can remember that far back. John, I have one question on page 4.
Okay.
It says, Mr. Gwellock distributed a chart showing the parking fees and the new parking lot taxes. and there was discussion on how to handle this.
Let me see here. What number was that?
Page 4.
Yep, page
the
4.
Second paragraph.
Oh. Oh, were we talking about the Cheshire High School parking lot? For, I mean, the Bartlum and the student parking? I can't remember.
I'm wondering what the taxes, new parking lot taxes. They're sort of like from 11, from page 3 at the bottom. I don't know what happened. Any idea what it should be instead of parking lot taxes?
You know what?
I think it
Go
may
ahead.
be parking fee taxes. I wasn't at the meeting, but I know right around that time I had presented to you, John, the information
that's
on
the-
the state requiring a sales tax on parking passes for both Mixville and Bartlum.
Okay,
That's what it was, the Mixville parking.
okay,
And that there was going to be, because of that, because of the new state law, there's going to be tax on it. Is that right?
okay.
Okay, thanks.
No, that's the only question I have.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
No?
Make a motion?
Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion to accept minutes.
Second.
Get Steve, and then Dan seconded.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Parks update. John?
Yeah, Mark's on here too. Obviously, everything is closed, or parks are open, but they're closed for structured and organized programs and activities. The trail's open. The dog park is closed. Starting to get some feedback about having it being opened. The basketball courts are getting redone, so those can't be used. Mixville, I think the backboards are still up, right, Mark? Or did you take those down at Mixville?
We took them down.
Okay, so those are down. The tennis courts are locked. The playgrounds are, taped up. The one at Bartlum is locked up. So that's where we stand with that. As far as projects, the basketball courts are in full swing. They started paint the basketball courts. They milled. They did their 2 layers of asphalt. I know that they painted. I think all 3 courts should now have a gray color on there instead of the black that we were going to originally do. I went there yesterday at the youth center, and they actually painted the wrong red. They put a brick red instead of a summer red. The summer red is more like Steve's jacket, which is supposed to be like the Cheshire red. So that was the first coat. It gets 2 coats, so they're gonna make that correction tomorrow and Friday. All 3 basketball courts should be painted with the red border, the red keys, and then the special stencil for the center circle, for the P-Rec, for Cheshire Park, the iconic C, and then McNamara is going to say the Mac. So that should all be done by Friday, according to the vendor. And then next week they're going to get back into the tennis courts at Cheshire Park. They're going to install the fencing for the pickleball courts. They got to put in the net posts, and then finish up the fencing. So probably a couple more weeks there, and that'll be done. Meeting with Public Works on Friday and one of the playground vendors at Bartlum Park, and the 2 companies that we ordered close to about $80,000 worth of improvements. Most of the equipment, one company's coming in next week to do their part, and then the week after, the other companies, hoping, we're planning on this, as long as it works with Public Works schedule. Vendor number one can do their things without Public Works doing a lot of site work. Vendor number two, whose stuff isn't going to be on site until at least the week of the 15th or the 22nd, we need some considerable amount of Public Works support to pull out some of the old equipment. Let's see, the pool liner. I don't know, you probably have seen the Cheshire Herald story and all the comments on the Facebook forum. Last night during Public Works hearing, budget hearing at the end, Councilman Orris mentioned that he stood behind replacing the pool liner. So Sheila and I are working on, or more Sheila's working on, a council agenda request for next Tuesday, discussion and a possible bid waiver for one of the two companies that she has that can supply us and install the liner. So hopefully that'll be all taken care of next week. Mark, anything else on the parks?
No, just we landscaped it with that. We took down the berm, we seeded that, topsoiled it. That's
By the way,
yeah, the section down the Lock 12, we topsoiled that, seeded that. And the crews are back to full time now, but they're split up. We have half the crew working at the Parks Garage and the other half of the crew working out of the Bartlett Park Garage. We keep them separated, so it's working out.
Do we have a target date when all of this is going to be completed, or is that kind of tough to say at this point?
what's that, Dan? The basketball courts?
Well, I mean, all the renovations all together. I mean, there's a lot going on all at once, it seems, and we're doing a lot of great work. I mean, I'm just wondering, if there was a target date, or are you looking? I mean, we're not going to reopen for at least several weeks.
Right. Basketball courts should be done by this Friday. The tennis courts probably a week or two. That's all weather dependent. And then the playgrounds are going to start next week with one vendor, and then the following week with another vendor. So probably, I don't know, by May 20th, May 22nd. Let's look at the calendar really quick.
So are we going to keep the basketball rims and backboards off of the basketball courts?
So the rims are on there. Originally, the vendor had told me that they would just drop them off at the youth center. I had Tim Weed there to accept them, and then the installer called me and said that they needed to be part of the install of the backboard for it to be all correct. So what he did was he just bagged them and just put a ton of tape around them. And I've been driving around, and they haven't been compromised in over a week that they've been up. And we had a great weekend last weekend, and no one appeared to take them down, because I did drive by Sunday around 3 o'clock, all three of them, and they were still all wrapped up nice and tight. So the courts will be all done, and we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on make sure those rims are all, wrapped up still. The playgrounds are still, Bartlett Park. I think Mark's guys have it all chained up so that you can't get inside unless you hop the fence. But I don't know, Mark, have your guys seen anybody over there? I mean, I haven't really seen anybody over there.
No, it's been pretty quiet.
Yeah. I mean, even when I drove by 3 o'clock on Sunday, all three locations, there was really nobody out at McNamara, nobody out at Cheshire Park. Out in the ball field, yes, but not near the playground or the basketball hoop. So.
Tell you, John, your timing was impeccable this year to do those projects when we had to shut them down anyhow. So, you have a lot of credit.
Well, it'll be something nice to look forward to when we get out of this mess.
So how did that virus expedite things? I mean, that must have really got things rolling for you guys as far as these updates, these upgrades.
Actually, not really. Actually, this was just, irregardless of COVID-19, these are all things that we had already put in a hopper back in December.
But with everybody staying at home, though, it had to be a lot easier to accomplish. I mean, no one really.
Oh yeah, no one. Right, no one's inconvenienced, no one's disturbed that they can't have access to it.
Right.
The gym classes that would normally use it, they're not in school, so it's not a big deal. Because I thought about that because they use that as an option, right?
Right.
The best phone call I got, John, was the guy asked me that he thought it was extreme that the Parks and Rec tore the courts out of the ground so no one plays on them.
Yeah, there was a bunch of things on the forum that we were getting a chuckle out of when they first started closing them.
John, I have a question on the pool.
Yep.
If the town council approves it next week, how long to get the new liner and to get it in the pool and get it ready?
So Sheila's working on all that. We'll get a little feedback there. What's that from?
I think everybody, I mean, people, you should be muted. You should be muted unless you're actually going to talk, because that creates feedback sometimes.
I'll mute out.
That's better. So Mike, we were talking about it today in our staff Zoom meeting. Sheila's putting together the request to get on the council agenda. And
Okay.
she's also putting together a comparison for the two companies so that when the council gets it on Tuesday, when they discuss it, they have the option of whatever company. I mean, there is a range in the fees, but there also may be some differences in the timeline of the demo, how long it takes to demo, how long it takes to get the actual liner, to install the liner, and then the rest is all going to be up to the local health department and CDC guidelines on, what's going to be, appropriate for us to open, and what's our plan going to be.
You know what I'm saying? If we could open it, say in June, would we be able to have the liner and water in that pool up and ready by June?
You're talking about next week being what, the 12th?
What part of June?
So that's the 12th. I think Sheila thinks that both companies, it's like a 4 to 5 week turnaround
Okay.
from when they start. So whenever they start, go out 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
Demo, install, fill the pool with the water.
Okay. So it's a little over a month. Okay.
Fill the pool with the water?
I'm sorry, Pat.
How long to fill the pool with the water?
So when they get the okay from the council, if that happens on Tuesday, the very next day, say the 13th, she calls the company and places the order, provided she gets the bid waiver. It's 4 to 5 weeks to demo the current liner.
How long to actually fill the pool? That's what I'm saying. When the liner's in, we're all set. How many?
It's 2 to 3 days,
That's all.
according to Sheila, right?
Okay.
Elizabeth, from your experience?
I think that's pretty slim.
I think 2 to 3 days, but it may take a little bit more time to raise it up to the right temperature and balance the chemicals. But definitely, I wouldn't say more than a week. That's the high end. Is the longest it could possibly be is a week, but a few days is reasonable. Yeah.
What are we going to do in the pool then, as far as people using it?
She's developing a plan right now.
Right.
And a lot of that she's gonna need to get guidance from the CDC and any other health governing body.
Thank
But it's
you.
about a 4 to 5 week process, Pat.
Right.
When it comes to Sheila, she's pretty much there all by herself these days, right?
Well, right now the pool staff was furloughed. Sheila is in a pay status. She's on vacation, but she's been participating in meetings and phone calls and all that stuff. But her the other two full-timers were furloughed along with the part-timers. Tracy Kozlowski took a transfer to the senior center, and then we still have the facility tech position open. So technically there's 2 full-time positions open at the pool.
The reason I ask is, does she need any help? Does she need any volunteer help? I mean, because I'm free pretty much in the mornings if she needs somebody to help her with anything over there.
No, I think right now it's everything's all locked up and closed, and she's working from home.
Okay.
So we never
Just thought I'd
hired,
throw that out there.
so we never hired the pool technician?
All that was happening just when this started to happen.
Okay.
We got what delayed it all was that the number one candidate decided not to take the job. The number two decided not to take the job. So that was like a week and a half. And then
I
number
didn't know
three
that. Okay.
wanted the job, and we did the background check, and then that's when everything started happening.
Okay.
So at least we have someone in the hopper when the time is right. Now she's anxious because if we are going to be opening and restrictions are starting to get, are going to be going in the direction we hope they go, she wants to be able to start the employment process for the front desk clerk, Tracy's replacement. So once we get a little bit more clear picture on that, maybe in a couple of weeks, then personnel, hopefully Lou will see that and start the process so that we can kind of sync it up so that when she does reopen, someone will be there instead of, trying to piecemeal something together.
Okay.
And while we're on positions, Park and Rec has a new retirement today. Kathy Forenza filed her paper, so she's going to officially retire May 22nd. So there'll be an open there, but we'll have to see because the council is really going over the budget and is really trying to get to a net increase overall, no mill rate increase. So I don't know how that's going to impact our budget just yet. There may have to have a revised budget submitted at some point, but we'll see. So that's it for the parks, Pat. Unless anybody else has anything.
All right.
Okay.
That sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, hi, Sucker Duffy. Somebody page me. Okay. Pardon me? No, I don't. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
So, I think we have old business. Hello?
Yeah, no council liaison report. Peter couldn't make it. You there, Pat?
Yeah. That pays the bill.
You there, Pat?
Paging Dr. Duffy.
Hey, Pat.
Hang on 1 second, John. Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
okay. He's
Yeah.
still on the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is this recording?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Pat, we're on YouTube, remember?
Okay, we're on number 6, council liaison report. Peter's not here, so we can move on to number 7.
Communications, I guess we have none. Chairman's report, John, I think what we'd all benefit from is, a week or so ago when I told you I thought we ought to put the summer concert series on our agenda. A lot's happened since then with your national meetings and stuff, and why don't we just jump into all that?
Okay. So, Elizabeth's here too, so she could supplement what we've all been on different calls with Connecticut Parks and Recreation Association, the National Parks and Recreation Association, the Office of Early Childhood Education Management, OEM, and really a lot of it is just, we're all kind of in the same boat across the country. Some places are in a better spot than us. We just happen to be in that tri-state, very densely populated area, where it's kind of really cloudy of what we're going to really be expecting. I guess there was some good news yesterday as far as summer camps being able to occur, but with, major changes and summer camp really not being like a camp experience, smaller numbers, and a ton of safety precautions, to the point that we keep talking about, does it make it worth it? Is it prohibitive to have to do all these other things and then be that one program that gets shut down or has the unfortunate cases of COVID? I don't know. I mean, it's all speculative. The state of Rhode Island has, canceled everything outdoors up to 50 people until August 31st. Hopefully that's not what we're looking at, but I don't know. I mean, there's places out in the Midwest that are already shuttering pools, shuttering camp playground programs, giving back thousands and in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars of refunds. I don't know. Elizabeth, do you want to add some other things to that?
It's just really challenging because in addition to reducing the number of kids we'd be able to have, we would have to increase staffing, and we're being encouraged to spend less money and not increase our funding at all if you've been watching any of the budget hearings. So it's going to be challenging to see if we can find the money to run camp even with the limited people because of the staff. And then it's also a matter of, can we find the PPE? Is it in supply? Because we're gonna need extra hand sanitizers, soaps, masks. And then I have also been in touch with the camp nurse already to see regarding masks and kids wearing masks and how frequently they might need to be changed if you're outside. Some of the kids are on site from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So there are a lot of considerations for camp there. I've been hearing a lot of things about other towns nationwide and just locally canceling different activities. Just for comparison, Branford has a festival in June. They canceled their festival. They canceled their fireworks that they have at the end of June. So they've canceled a couple big things. They, like we, canceled their Memorial Day parade. I believe it was Mansfield canceled their summer camps because of funding. While we're trying to say that, yes, we are able to provide daycare for these kids for when people want to go back to work or are able to go back to work, because that's really important. We also have to consider, can we actually offer them?
So now you get into like the town of Darien. They're not even going to hire lifeguards this summer for their beaches. They actually are hiring park monitors to act as security people to make sure that people aren't going on the closed playgrounds. They're not going on the closed skate parks, that they're exercising social distance in their parks. There was one skate park, I forget where it was in the country, but they had to attach chains to the pavement so that the kids weren't hopping the fence and going to use the ramps. So they just kind of put chains in strategic areas so they couldn't rollerblade or skateboard or BMX bike or whatever.
Right here in Connecticut, in South Windsor, they dumped sand on their skate park so the kids couldn't use it.
I know in Massachusetts, there was a big concern. Someone today on the call was a lot of the pools and lakes are not going to be opening. So they're worried about it's going to push people to the shoreline. And what do they do there? And then one person was talking about making reservations for the sand, certain areas, or what do we do? Tennis courts, they were hiring park staff to do reservations for tennis. One entrance in, one entrance out. singles play only, no doubles. But then you have, Clinton, Guilford, Madison opening up their beaches, opening up their tennis courts, opening up their pickleball courts, their basketball courts. So, what do you do? What's the right thing to do?
Nobody knows.
Right. The other thing that Darien was doing, which was very interesting, and I know the city of Meriden has been doing it for at least, and Mark, you could probably tell us, carry in, carry out for trash.
No, I haven't heard.
Wow.
I didn't hear about that.
Carry.
So your trash, they got rid of all. So Darien removed all their picnic tables from their beaches and their park pavilions because they're not going to rent out any of the pavilions this summer. And they instituted you come to the park with your trash, you take it out. And I think that they're looking to do that moving on into the future, even when things are back to normal. I thought, Mark, I was talking to Chris Borden at one time. I thought that they had a carry in, carry out. No?
No,
Okay.
it's possible. I don't know, but not, I don't think we've ever done it here.
Okay. So that was just another thing. Darien's not opening up their concession stands for the summer. And everything else is staying closed. So I don't know. I mean, they got hit pretty hard. They're down in that area, Greenwich, Ridgefield, where their numbers were really high. So I don't know. What does that mean for us? We'll have to see in another week or so.
Another thing that they mentioned in the call was the bathroom sanitation. They were talking about, I believe, sanitizing bathrooms every 2 hours. Is that what you remember hearing, John? Every 2 hours? That's
Yes.
a lot of manpower.
It's a lot of cleaning.
It is.
What would be the cutoff date that you would have to notify parents that you're not going to do a camp?
At this point, I don't think we can say anything before May 15th. That's when the actual guidelines will come out for what we have to follow for camp. So we're not going to make any decisions prior to that. We haven't really decided on a date yet. I would think that by the earliest we can start camp is June 29th. That was what they said. The earliest camp can start is June 29th. So I guess we would probably try to make a decision by the first week in June. Does that sound about right, John?
Yeah.
Just to give people an idea of time?
We're definitely going to have to scramble and put something together.
Right.
It goes that way.
So John and Elizabeth, I'm not sure if I heard this or not, or if it was said, are we leaning towards canceling our summer concert series? Just because of the unknown, or it's up in the air?
I think it's still up in the air, and a lot of it is hinging on this Connecticut Reopen group. Once we get some guidelines from them, I did put a call into Al from Power Station today for him to call me, just to kind of see what he's getting on his end from the entertainment world, and what the prospects of doing anything this summer anywhere. So as soon as I hear something, I'll send out an email to everybody just to kind of clue you in on what's happening. But I mean, right now with it being 50, I don't know if it's going to be in any phases. It may be July or maybe August where some of that is, less, and we could have some more people. Maybe we could shift our concerts more into August. Are people going to be really going places and vacationing? I don't know.
Are people going to want to come?
That's the other point. Are people want to come, or are families going to want to let their kids go to camp? There's going to be that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we're going to move ahead with concerts with, you're not supposed to have 5 or more people together, or social distancing is going to go on for quite some time. So I don't know how that's going to work.
And that kind of rolls right into the Fall Fest. I was on a call, I think it was on Friday, with Yetta and a few people. and just kind of discussing it. And they're sort of kind of waiting for the 15th and some of these other guidelines to come out, because the Fall Fest probably will have a different look, those couple of days. Maybe it's fireworks from your car. They're talking about the band on Friday night. I don't know how you're going to be able to do that. They talked about maybe doing a car show parade instead of just a car show where the cars are just stacked. And then I don't know what kind of event is going to take place. But they're starting to think that way.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to spend a lot of money unnecessarily for something that may be canceled and you can't reuse and get your money back. So I know all the youth leagues have canceled all their spring seasons: lacrosse, rugby, CYB, CYS, soccer. With that went, I think, 3 or 4 tournaments. The Baileys are holding out hope that they could move their June tournaments to July. But I don't know what USA Lacrosse is going to allow them to do. And I don't even know locally if we're going to be able to allow, that sort of an activity to happen based on whatever guidelines maybe, put out there for that time period. And maybe it's pushed off into August. I don't know. A lot of unknowns.
I think that, I think thinking about August is optimistic.
Really?
Yeah. But that's just from my side of the fence. What I see going on and what I hear. In the medical community.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's important.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Thank you for enlightening us.
Sure.
So on that sobering note, do we want to talk any more about old business, or do you want to talk about old business?
Yeah, old business. I mean, the Chapman Property Master Plan certainly has been put on hold. It's really important to get the key, to get the 2 plans of 1A, 1B, and 2, basically like 3 visions, out to the public so that at least they could take a look at it. Doesn't feel right to do it right now. We don't really have the form or the ability to do it. So that's just put on hold indefinitely. And we'll just have to see, especially the funding aspect. It was briefly discussed during our budget hearing. But I don't know how it's going to shake out and how that's going to be used for going forward with next year's capital improvement budget. So unfortunately, we had a lot of momentum and some good plans, and it's kind of stalled right now. As far as the budget, as in old business, we had it on the 21st. I do want to commend Elizabeth. I gave her a bunch of information. She had her own information, and basically within a 48-hour time period, she put together a 72-page document that included pool information. It's a fantastic publication, and it kind of, we were given some directives by Sean to kind of come up with an overview of the department, and we didn't really get carried away because the 72 pages, there are some graphs and charts and pictures, but it really is illustrative of what we do. It's kind of like just, our constitution of Cheshire Parks and Rec. So, I mean, you could just go through it at any point and just kind of know what we're charged with overseeing, what's happening, some updates, some improvements. Then part of it had to have the pandemic COVID impact to the department. And then, of course, the stay-at-home work orders were all part of that. And then obviously Sheila attached all of her pool information. So It's chock full of information. It has work in progress things. It has some accomplishments. We can go through it. We could put it on the agenda for next month and maybe go over some of the stuff. There's the ordinances that I went through and made some recommendations for revisions. I've been asking Sean to, with the help of Jim Jascott, to let us have the ability to have a special fund for programs, a special fund for facilities, as we've talked about before, some necessary tools so that we could build the department and run it more like a business, so that we're not stuck with declining revenues and major gaps that we have to overcome. We had these types of things, we could have mitigated some of it, or maybe be on the positive side, and things don't look so bleak. And also part of that has the ability for you guys, this commission, the ability to make, in the ordinances anyway, I had put in there to, for us to go to you to review fees, whether it's for facilities or programs, instead of just going directly to the council. And if the council at that point didn't like something, or they heard something that they disapproved of, well, they're the final body that has to approve anything anyway. But there's a lot of information there. You let me know how you want to handle it.
Could you email that stuff to us? That information?
Yeah, all that's in that document. I think I thought I did send the budget document. Did everybody get that?
Yeah.
It's part of
Okay,
the,
okay. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. If you scan through it, you'll find some of that information. I can give you
Gotcha.
detail if you want it. There was more of a general oversight.
Okay. Yeah, I
Some-
remember seeing that. I
Okay.
haven't looked at it, but I saw it.
Okay.
All right, so we'll move to new business.
Yeah, new business. Memorial
have
bench
a-
request.
Go set.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So we have a request for memorial bench. And this is for Kathy Ragone. And it says, Kathy, along with her husband Gene and children Brian, Caitlin, and Billy, lived in Cheshire for 25 years. They raised their family here and made many friends. She loved to walk and was very friendly to all. We wanted to honor her with a bench. And the request is from the family through Dave Barnett. And they're requesting that they would like a picture engraved on it. And they would like it they like it the color blue, and a linear path between Cornwall and West Main.
So Pat, there's an update on that. The family does not want a picture on the plaque.
Thank God. Okay. So they do not want a picture, but they want a blue bench on the linear path between Cornwall and West Main.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have room?
Mark, yeah, I'm not familiar with that area. Is there an area that we could put a bench there?
We might be able to squeeze one more in.
Is that where it zigzags and it goes through all the wetlands and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the bulk of that is across the,
Yeah.
that was the wetlands area.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
We put one in last year up there, or the year before we put one in after, more towards West Main, after the bridge.
Okay. So you think that there is room for one more?
We could take a look at it, but I think we could do it.
All right, so Pat, do you want to take a motion to approve it with, with the contingency? Yeah.
Approve it with the restriction that there is room for it and that the inland wetlands area will permit it.
Okay.
Were we standardizing colors? And I didn't know if we're keeping all the same colors on that new section of the benches. So we didn't have 3 different colors on the whole thing.
No, the question from Mark Pat was, are we standardizing the color so we don't have multi-colors going through the path? You know, is there going to be a standard
Well,
color?
The form has green, blue, and black on it.
Oh, okay.
That we hand out, the memorial bench.
Yeah, I
request
just
form
okay. I
has
just
3
saw that.
colors.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we change now.
What colors are there, Mark? I mean, that you put in there. I mean, I didn't make up this form, so I don't know. I'm just looking at it now that you pointed it out that there is the option for green, blue, and black.
There are red ones too.
Are there?
Yep. And there's the Batman yellow and black one. I'm not kidding.
So we're not even following our own form.
Well, maybe the form came afterwards.
Yeah.
I thought that this form was standardizing it. I thought that we were reducing the options that people had. I don't exactly remember the whole plan, but I thought that this form was reducing to come closer to standard. Because prior, people could request anything under the sun that they wanted. So that's when I believe we added the colors. And I think with
Okay.
this one, we'll also want to make sure that we get the verbiage for the plaque.
So the verbiage.
Because without the picture, there won't be anything.
Yeah, no,
Sorry, go ahead.
there is verbiage down at the
Right.
bottom of there. There you go.
Says in
Oh, I'm
loving.
sorry. I missed that. Sorry, I didn't scroll far enough down.
Oh, so you saw it?
See it
what are
now.
we saying?
Yeah, no, she saw it. She didn't scroll down on her computer to see the form.
All right, I'll make a motion that we accept the memorial bench for the Groen family.
I'll second.
Well, Steve had his fingers up first. He was muted.
Oh, is it
Sorry,
audio or visual? What are we doing here? Come on. You can have it, Steve. It's all you.
Paul, 2.5. Second.
All right, Steve, that's you.
Either way, you know, she was a great woman. They were a great family. Kids were involved in athletics and other things at the school. Parents were really involved at the high school. Any way that we can, I don't know if you guys know the story behind her. She was killed. She was killed crossing the street in Florida on her bike. So, yeah, it was sad. So, any way that we can memorialize her would be great.
Wasn't her son Billy an all-state quarterback or something like that?
Great, yeah, he's a real good player.
Yeah, went on to play at UPenn.
Right, Steve?
Did he go to UPenn, Steve?
UPenn,
Really good family.
yeah.
Okay, we're good there.
All right. Do we have a second?
Yeah, it was Steve Trifone. Paul's
Okay.
still lobbying.
All right. So we had our discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, Paul opposed. He's mad.
Let the record show.
From what I'm looking at, it's unanimous here, I can see. All right. So we already did the summer concert series, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, where does begin developing the program to utilize high school students' community hours to help Park and Rec?
That was something that Karen wanted to put on the agenda. So I'm not
Right.
sure if we want to just pass this and table it and put it on the next agenda for her to have the ability to discuss it.
I think that would be nice. But Steve, I have a question for you. What do high school students get community hours for?
Robbing the bank.
A lot is just really building the resume for colleges. Right now, there's really no set standard at the high school for graduation rate for community service. But I think that, the more we can get our kids involved in the community, the better they are, not only for just the hours, but just for giving back to the community that, that they're growing up in, and whatever they can do, it's helpful.
So
Yeah.
it's a positive thing. It's not, they're not having to do community service for things that might have happened at school that were problematic.
Correct. Yeah. Right now, there's nothing. Although there's some talk about, instead of suspending a student, maybe having them do some community service instead for some type of issue that took place. But we try to encourage our kids to get involved in community service as much as possible. This would just be another great option.
We have, that's great, and we have to make a distinction then between those who are doing it because they want to and those who are doing it because they have to.
Yeah. If we were really going to do any type of community service because of punitive, it'd probably be something at the high school, is my guess.
Okay.
Pat, Wallingford, my kids had to, they have I think it's a 30-hour requirement to graduate. So they have 4 years to put in 30 hours of community service.
Okay. All right, so then we'll table that. You have any more to add, John, with the director's department report?
No, I think if you go through that, if anyone has any questions, if they go through that budget presentation and you want me to elaborate, send me an email. I'll be happy to either chat with you or email response or go over it. I just, it's been like a tough time just trying to kind of get through all this and work from home and coordinate what everybody else is working on. There actually is some good stuff that our staff is working on that typically we normally during this period would not be able to get to. So the break, although it's not welcome, is actually been kind of good so that we could get to some things. But it's getting to the point now where, we want to be at work. I know that every Friday there's been a Chief Kasner has a kind of like an emergency management team meeting, and it's kind of an update on where we stand with what's going on and the protections and equipment and so forth for public works, police, fire, town hall. I know that the town hall is gearing up for us to be back to work within the next 4 weeks. Probably not before that. Probably more in 3 weeks, because that was on last week's call that Sean had said within 4 weeks we should be back in the office, provided everything is still trending, to a safe place. So I don't know, Elizabeth, if there's anything else that you wanted to talk about that we're working on, or anything else that I kind of missed that you want to highlight?
We, like John said, it's an opportunity to work on some of the projects that have just kind of been on the back burner for a while. So Tim has been able to do a lot of work on the manuals for summer camp, which has been an ongoing process. And I'm going to also be working on trying to compile that into a manual for the entire department, all those staff. And then waiting for a little bit more guidance from the town manager's office, but we're going to be looking to update the Park and Rec web pages, moving to a new website, which I think we've been talking about for a couple of years now, but hopefully we'll be moving a little bit closer to that finally. But those are a couple of the projects that are in the works. So improving our web presence. Not sure if you also saw, Tim and Barbara had a chance to do a virtual hike of Roaring Brook. They posted it to our YouTube channel. So that's a new way that we're trying to just engage the community and let them know, we know you can't get out there, but here you can still see what's nice out in the parks and opportunities for you once you get back out.
Elizabeth also put out a basketball survey to the basketball program, just so that we could kind of evaluate this past season and make some necessary changes moving on to next year. So stuff like that.
Yeah, John knows what I do more than I do because I tell him and then I move on to the next project. So I spent a lot of time today trying to get this Zoom going and getting YouTube going. So the tech stuff today kind of took over, and I honestly forgot about the basketball survey for today. But we had about 76 responses. So that's pretty good. And a lot of the feedback was positive. We did request that people give both positive and negative feedback. So we had an idea of what everybody feels. And I'll be sharing that with the group and we can probably present that to you guys next month.
Anything else?
All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
Paul's got the second. We didn't hear it first, though.
I'll
can't
make a
say-
motion to adjourn.
There we go. Mike's got it. And drum roll, please. Paul's got the second.
Second it.
All right. Discussion.
Any-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, not bad.
That was good.
Yeah, that was fine.
That wasn't bad at all. That was pretty